So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Why I'm not switching from the iPhone 13 Pro Max over to the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Now, I've done full comparisons between these two. That's not what this video is really about. A lot of people ask me, Nick, bro, what's your main phone? Stuff like that. They want to know, are you on the S22? Are you on the iPhone? Well, I'm going to tell you why I decided for now I'm just going to be sticking with the 13 Pro Max. Now, don't get me wrong. I do absolutely love the S22 Ultra. I've praised it before. It's probably the best Android phone you can buy right now. Some people argue no, that's the Pixel 6 Pro. Everyone's got their take on things, but this one really does offer pretty much everything a phone could offer. S Pen, massive display, amazing cameras with ridiculous zoom. But we'll begin with the first one, and the first one is that this phone right here, the Galaxy S22 Ultra, there's just no way around it. It just cannot touch the iPhone 13 Pro Max in the battery life. I've tried to get it to last as long, and I can actually get it kind of close, but what I have to do is I have to turn down the settings. I have to turn down the QHD resolution. I got to put it in lower power modes. I just don't want to do that. 5,000 milliamp, you could put it on paper all day. But in reality, this phone for me, I found myself charging it during the day, actually, being a heavy user. Not that it needed it, but I didn't want it to get really low and start to make me nervous, So, half the day in, I would be around 48, 49. I'd be charging it just to make sure I'm not going to actually deplete it by 9, 10 o'clock at night. The iPhone 13 Pro Max, I don't even think about the battery. I know it's going to make it every day. And the battery life is a huge reason why. And I just want to get that one out the way because it's one of the most important factors. It just lasts. There's just no way around it. It's just a better battery life phone. The next reason is actually related to their ecosystems, but it's not really, iOS versus Android. It's more Apple Watch versus Galaxy Watch 4. Now, I do use the Galaxy Watch 4, and if you could tell the way I have them set up in the cases and these bands, it's about the same. I like it to keep it very similar, kind of sporty looking. This watch is great, the Galaxy Watch 4. However, the Galaxy Watch 4 to me is still not quite as good as the Apple Watch, which is much more refined and polished than the Galaxy Watch 4. So I just miss using my Apple Watch when I'm using the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. The next one is kind of a petty one. Some people are not going to care, but at the same time, I do. So that's why I'm going to mention it here. The flat screen. I just like the S22 Plus. Even for the flat screen, I'm not a fan of these curves anymore. And you could tell Samsung doesn't really curve it too much anymore. They're very small. And while they do look gorgeous to look at, it's about the practicality. They reflect a little bit. When I'm reading an article, they're a little bit distracting. And sometimes this thing happens when I'm using the S Pen where I'll be writing a note, and I usually have it in full screen sometimes because I want to take advantage of that beautiful display. And it'll just swipe out like that. You just see right there because the pen is hitting the edge. It's just not practical sometimes having the curved display. It does work well when you are using edge panels, though. I will say that if you're into this edge panel stuff, it kind of feels natural to go ahead and swipe out and get those edge panels going. But at the same time, I want to see the S22 Ultra, the next one, maybe the S23 Ultra, bring back the flat display like we've seen on the Note 5, for example. I just miss those kind of displays. It's just one reason I'm just preferring the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I like its flat feel. It just feels really good. And I could just use the S22 Plus if I'm looking for more of a flat feel, but then this phone, you sacrifice the more premium display from the S22 Ultra and some other aspects of that device. The next one has to do with the privacy of iOS. In today's day and age with all these scam artists, these people, you even see it in my comment section. By the way, don't click any of those or don't reply to any of those telegrams. Those are all fake. They're all impersonations. That's not me. It's never me. I'm trying to delete them as fast as I can. Sometimes I don't see them, but I'm trying to get through them as quick as I can until YouTube can implement a feature to get rid of those things altogether. But iOS, definitely being more of a private experience. It just feels a little bit more safe to use. Like we're getting software updates a little bit faster. And yes, Samsung does have knocks and stuff like that, but it's not really Samsung. The Samsung One UI is really good at this too, with their secure folder and stuff like that, and a lot of security-based stuff in here. But it's the software itself. Android's a more wide open platform. I just feel you know, that the iOS experience is a little bit better here, even down to when you go to the App Store. I know you can see some of these things on Android as well, but I just like how, let's go to some apps here. Let's go to apps, and we're going to show you something that I'm talking about here. So YouTube, for example, we'll go ahead and let that load up, swipe down, and I just like this thing right here where you can see all the data linked to you. I like this. This tells you very clearly what's happening, and that can help you make a decision very fast if you want to download this. Now, I know you could see this again on Android, but it's just a little bit easier to just see it right there on iOS. So definitely pretty cool. And I just like how I don't see a lot of ad based stuff, like, you know, personal ad tracking based stuff on the iPhone as much as I do when I'm using the Samsung device. The next reason is related to the A15 CPU. It just seems to be performing a little bit better for me. As a matter of fact, the performance on this phone is actually flawless. It hasn't had any lags, any delays. It's basically perfect. And with the 120 hertz panel, this thing, it's just always butter smooth. I don't know how to, there's no other way to describe it. It just always smooth. You know, you can count on it every single day of your life that it's going to be very fast. Now, the Galaxy S22 Ultra, I can count on this thing as well. It's also very fast day to day, but there's just a little more chop. You can even see it right here scrolling through. It's a little choppier. It's just not as smooth. You seen that right there? The animation's not as smooth. It's just not as smooth of a phone. That's all I can say about it. Yes, you are trading that. Look at that little delay in that scroll. You are trading the, you know, having the S Pen and all the extra features. But honestly, guys, I prefer having the more buttery, smooth, consistent experience. And again, I do love the feature set. It's amazing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking this phone saying it's bad. It's actually right there and arguably feature for feature better than the 13 Pro Max. But it's about the experience. And I'm telling you right now, the experience is a little bit more polished. It's more smooth and consistent. And the A15, I find this phone to not get as warm as the Galaxy S22 Ultra, which I do like. S22 Ultra doesn't become on fire, nothing like that. It stays pretty cool too. It's also very efficient, but this phone just stays cooler to the touch no matter what I'm doing. It's great. The performance is awesome. Now the next one is related to the camera. I find that the video performance, the focus is great on this phone. I just like the video on the iPhone. Also, the macro mode is awesome here for the iPhone. On the Galaxy, we can do that as well. Video performance is great on the Galaxy as well. Macro modes are available. You can go to 0.6x and get even closer. I have to remember to put it 0.6x to hit that macro mode. Now, I will say one thing too. I do like that the Galaxy does have 8K video. However, I don't actually like the way the video focus performs on the Galaxy versus the iPhone. Sometimes I can see it coming in and out a little bit more. It's not a big deal. It doesn't happen often, but the focusing abilities on the iPhone are a little bit better. Although I think the Galaxy can have the ability to look a little bit sharper. I'm still just a fan of the way the iPhone video looks. It's really easy to use and stuff like that. But if you're looking for features and stuff, the Galaxy blows away the iPhone and just pure feature set if you're into that kind of stuff. But for me, I like the practical, everyday, easy to use of the iPhone. Now, I will say one thing too. I have definitely praised Samsung for destroying the iPhone in Zoom. But lately, if I'm being really honest with you, I have found myself not actually using much more than the 3x zoom in reality. So for the iPhone, it would be here. And then for the Samsung, you can also hit that 3x. So what I'm saying is that this 100x, it's awesome, but I find myself never really maxing out past 10. So the 15x is enough. Now, I'm not saying Apple shouldn't improve this. I still think because Samsung is pushing the boundaries, they should go a little bit farther on their zoom as well, maybe 50x when you need it, but it's not often you need it. So definitely the camera experience is very close between these two, but I just find the video I like a little bit more on the iPhone, and I just kind of like the skin tones and stuff like that on the iPhone. They look a little bit more realistic and the color saturation. The next thing is that Face ID became available with a mask for the iPhone 13 Pro Max. And while mask mandates are lifted in a lot of places, they are still instated in certain areas like public transportation, medical settings. In addition to that, you know, you could find some places that are still requiring it. And if there ever is a need to put them back on, we have that now. So this whole in-display fingerprint sensor that I said was so much better for this time period of our lives, it definitely still great. I'm not knocking the fingerprint. I love this in display. It's great. There's no real issues with it. But I don't find with Face ID having the mask anymore that to be an issue. So I'm enjoying Face ID, and I'm not saying it's a better system. It depends on if you like fingerprint or not, but definitely the convenience is there again. You don't have to worry about the mask stuff anymore with Face ID. So overall, I feel that the Galaxy S22 Ultra is a better value phone, just because for the same price, sometimes cheaper with, you know, trade-ins, you're getting a better zoom, you're getting much more features, you're getting an S Pen for more creativity and productivity. But there are some things that you are missing with this phone, and that is the battery life is inconsistent for me. And, you know, while this phone is beautiful, man, it's nice, it's premium, the battery life is kind of a letdown. The phone itself is not quite as fast as you would think. You know, it's very quick, but it's not quite as, how would you say, smooth. I shouldn't say fast, it is very fast. It's not quite as smooth as you would expect for this price. There's some chop in the Android software. Some of these, you know, animations, they just look a little janky sometimes, and I've actually had apps kind of spaz out on me a few times on this phone. Has happened on the 13 Pro Max as well, but not quite as often since 15.4.1. I think One UI takes much better advantage of the screen space than iOS does. I mean, these icons right here are huge on the iPhone, and they don't look much different than an iPhone mini. You can definitely take more advantage of the screen if you want to. But the real reasons why I wasn't able to make the full switch was the battery life. That's the main thing. In addition to that, I just like the way it performs with ProMotion. It just feels smoother day to day, and that experience is hard to overlook when you're using the S22 Ultra and it's constantly on your mind. Well, your phone could be a little bit smoother if you're using the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So what I've decided to do is I'm using the 13 Pro Max as the main phone right now, and I'll be using the Galaxy S22 Ultra. I use it for productivity-based things as well as creativity-based things when I am using the S Pen. So the SIM card right now stays in the 13 Pro Max. Last year, I was using the S21 Ultra as my main device, and this one I don't think did enough to really, you know, it wasn't that much different from the S21 Ultra. The S21 Ultra was buttery smooth. Actually, I found it to be a little smoother than this phone sometimes. Less choppy. It was like perfect performance out the gate. So we'll see what Samsung does on the next edition. And right now, I'm just looking forward to the 14 Pro Max, maybe the Z Fold 4 that's coming later this year. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Did you make the switch from the iPhone 13 Pro Max to the S22 Ultra, or vice versa? Did you make the switch from the S22 Ultra to the 13 Pro Max? Let me know your thoughts, and let me know what you guys want to see going forward. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to be well, and peace.